Well, hi YouTubers. Okay, this is part of the 100 books, and these two books I'm about to do now are leftovers from Non-Fiction November because I had a cold. Honestly, it's my first YouTube video in about 2 weeks because I had a really, really horrible cold. I mean, it was the worst. Okay, so I've got 2 books to get through today, but let's talk about this one. Godzilla on My Mind by William Tetsu. 50 Years of the King of the Monsters. This book obviously came out some time ago, but now this book is so good. It is not one of those fanboy, essays about Godzilla. This is cool and calm and concise, and it's just also a story about a young Japanese American growing up at a time before Godzilla was really discovered, and about how he felt, his peers kind of looked down on him. He went to a trick-or-treating as Godzilla and no one knew who he was. Also, this is going back some time ago before Godzilla really entered the American kind of psyche, if you will. And this book is really, really good. One thing I like about it is it really kind of goes through the history of Godzilla, through the players who created him, how he got his name, which no one can decide on. He even says, Gojira, it's so convoluted why you get from Gojira to Godzilla. Mistranslation, mispronunciation, who knows, okay? And it explores the Godzilla fandom as well, which is really, really good. Now, I've got some experience of Godzilla I'm going to mention towards the end. And so, let's talk about this bit here, this bit that really, really kind of sums up how good this book is, okay? This is when he goes to Japan, and in Chiba, place I've been to. And it kind of describes kind of like his own psyche and his love of Godzilla. When he and my father reminisced, one of the store's flunkies, sporting rudimentary English and a blue polyester suit, was assigned to take me down to the toy floor, and let me pick out whatever item I wanted as a gift. This was, of course, any young consumer's acquisite wet dream, and images of radio-controlled sports cars and gigantic model kits, battleship Yamato in 1.32 scale, a panzer tank as big as a twin bed, danced in my imagination. But before I made it out to what I thought I wanted, I saw something else, just out of the corner of my eye. There in a display cabinet was Godzilla. 12 gorgeous inches of richly painted tin, with row upon row of plastic fins and a cord sprouting from a mentionable spot at the base of its tail. I was smitten and immediately selected it as my free bounty. A remote-controlled Godzilla that walked after fashion, opened and closed its jaws and howled in a grating metallic kind of way. This was better than a puppy, a swimming pool, or a week's excuse from PE class. My mind at the store was dumbstruck. "Are you sure you would like that?" he asked politely, leaving off the word 600 yen piece of crap. I nodded, grinned, and we were done. And now his parents take this as a sign of him being, and his father's friend, and being such a good boy. They didn't take advantage of the situation like most boys would have done. Instead of going for the most expensive thing in the store, he went for the cheapest, and his parents were like, everyone would have thought what a great child he is, not to take advantage. And then, well, his mum actually rewarded him with, big toys later. I just like that. And I like this bit. Never, I think, in the history of childhood has such blatant self-interest been rewarded so generously. Thank you, Godzilla. It's brilliant. So it also explores what it's like to be Japanese American at a time where, these shifting times from like 70s onwards. And it also explores how Japanese pop culture started to invade Japan. I mean, everyone's seen Akira, and if you haven't seen Akira, go see Akira. There's Ghost in the Shell. There's there's Sailor Moon. There's even Pokemon. Japanese culture invaded America and then the rest of the world. I remember years and years ago, when I was at college, 20 years ago, we were doing can talk about mixed media, how one media influences the next. And I did a discussion on Pokemon, okay? I mentioned how in Japan it was the game first, then it was the anime, and then it went on from there. However, in the Western Hemisphere, the cartoon was released first, and then the game, to kind of get an idea what it was. And I've got to admit, when I first bought Pokemon, actually I didn't buy it, I went to the Pokemon launch, I won tickets. when I was giving my character his name, I got Pokemon Red and Blue. My character was Ash on Red, and yet my character on Blue was Satoshi, which is Ash's translated name. As an example, I love Japanese culture. You can probably see from the calendar behind me. So it's kind of like a tribute to Japan and Japanese culture, as well as an exploration of Godzilla and what makes Godzilla so popular. And further along, there's this bit here. This is now talking about Gojira, the birth of Gojira, Godzilla. Throughout Gojira, memories of past war and fears of a coming war are seamlessly intertwined. Images of chaos, flight, and destruction. Families put in cartloads of possessions, children being relocated in army trucks. Tokyo consumed by fire surely invoked in Gojira's viewers all true recollections of World War II. Short vignettes in the film make the connection explicit. Prior to Godzilla's attack, a group of commuters chat in a train. It's terrible, huh? One remarks. Radioactive tuna, atomic fallout, and now there's Godzilla to top it off. I guess I have to find shelter soon. Another chimes in. The shelters again? One of their companions exclaims. That stinks. So, the original Godzilla, the first one, or Gojira, deliberately invoked images of the Second World War and the bombings of Japan. And which I thought, when you look at Godzilla now, it's quite easy to dismiss him as a guy in a rubber suit terrorizing Japan. But at the time, it was very, very detailed subject matter. This was obviously a nation that had been destroyed, that was rebuilding itself like a phoenix from the ashes. Yet, it was going ahead, and suddenly it was being destroyed again by this atomic monster, if you will. Okay. Now, obviously, this book will not be remiss without talking about the Godzilla film, Godzilla in Name Only, 1997, I do believe, by Ronald Emmerich, and I'll get to that in a second. I've got my experience of that. Okay, this bit here I like though. Okay. However, Godzilla films and fandoms do seem to play an important role in establishing and reaffirming intergenerational bonds, especially between children and parents or grandparents, in a surprising number of families. Many adult fans have warm memories of being introduced to Kaigo Iga by their fathers and mothers. One man wrote me a heartfelt note about his 5th birthday in 1970, where his father bought him a new colour television set, and more importantly, spent a rare afternoon together with him enjoying Godzilla vs. Monster Zero. It does talk about how the connections Godzilla has between the generations. Now, this book I highly, highly recommend because William Tetsu, who I did some research on him, is now like a high academic at like some top university in America. He writes about this seriously, but doesn't take himself too seriously. It makes us quite openly, okay, the Godzilla films out weren't particularly fantastic. It makes us how pop culture kind of takes Godzilla each generation and kind of turns it into something new and different, which is sometimes is not a bad thing. Now, it mentions, though, the Emirates film from the 1990s, the American ones. And, oh god, okay, right. Now, my experience of that was, I used to work in a cinema many years ago, back in the 90s, and during my college years, following after uni. Now, I remember the ads for Godzilla. I remember the trailer for Godzilla, the teaser trailer, which came out a year before Godzilla even came out, which was these kids at like the Museum of Natural History, I do believe, with a Tyrannosaurus Rex coming down. Sorry, Godzilla's foot coming down and smashing a Tyrannosaurus Rex. There's a word. It was the whole idea, okay, was Jurassic Park, we beat you. We got you. You've got dinosaurs, we've got the King of the Monsters, okay? The actual film itself, Godzilla, okay? Now, my first ever Godzilla film was Godzilla 1985 or Godzilla 1984, a year later, okay? I remember that quite well because Godzilla ends going into a volcano and I didn't know what was going on. I must have been about 7 or 8. But it struck a chord with me. It was obviously dubbed and, but I remember it quite well. The really, really bad dubbing. But Godzilla going into a volcano and everyone pretty much saying he's going to come out. We'll just wait, basically. Had an impact on me. But Godzilla the film itself. Now, working in the cinema, it was our big summer hit. And I saw it many, many times, okay? My thoughts on it. Okay, right. Well, this guy dismisses it. And I love how sarcastic he is towards it. My thoughts on Godzilla, the Godzilla in name only. Okay, it's weird having so many Simpsons alumni as cast members. I mean, if you ever want to see Ken Brockman live action, watch that film. It's Harry Shearer. You've got Nancy Cartwright popping in for some weird role. You've got Hank Azaria, and I give respect to his role. He played Animal. I quite like his performance. There's a bit where Godzilla kind of goes to crush him in the streets with the rain. And the look on his face, you know, I like the look on his face, the look of shock on his face. Jean Reno, I think, was just mocking it, most incessantly. Matthew Broderick, I thought, what the hell? But, if it wasn't a Godzilla film, it'd be a good film. As this is a Godzilla film, we expect a little bit more from it. But it's very, very hard to translate a Japanese medium into an American medium, after all. And kind of pay homage to it both. So, Godzilla, the in name only American version, it's terrible. It is terrible, but I like the soundtrack. Deeper Underground by Jamiroquai, love that. Love the video. Go and post the video in the links, it's a good video. So, yeah, it's terrible, but listen, after a while working in cinema, you see it so many times, you start to poke fun at it, okay? The one that came out a few years ago with Bryan Cranston, I'm a little bit torn about. I expected a little bit more. Maybe because I expected a bit more from that film. It just was a bit too uptight for me, I guess. And little things, okay, like Godzilla's trash Las Vegas. What, we didn't actually see that happening? Please. So, this book, highly recommended. He writes about the subject matter with respect, but doesn't take itself too seriously, which is what you need. So, part of Non-Fiction November, a bit late because of my cold. Godzilla on my mind, William by Tetsu. 50 years of the King of the Monsters. Probably now 60 years now. So, here we go. Sign off here, YouTubers. Take care. Bye now.